while since I've commentated for anything. I'm gonna do my best.
Alright, let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, timing starts when you select the first track of the run. So,
My bad, go ahead.
I suppose I should give a little bit of intro for this game. So, if it's not immediately apparent, since like it didn't show the controls when you boot up the game, this game is entirely motion controlled, and yeah, the controls are really great. So, the one thing you might notice at some points is you'll like jump a bit. That's just by shaking the Wii remote, which happens intentionally or not. For this level in particular, it's only the first level, but it is a very tricky one to do cleanly, which is why he's slowing down a lot for these turns. It is possible to not slow down a single time, but it takes practice. One example is one thing for this track is that he goes to the right at that section where there's like all those rails. You can clip through them. It's not easy, but I think I'm the only one who's gotten it consistently. There's the CPUs being awesome. They just act like moving walls. It's really great. One thing with this game, there's the jump, which was probably unintentional. So it released in 2007 before Mario Kart Wii. I think they were trying to rush this game to be released before Mario Kart. Because just the more you play it, the more you wonder how anything got past the 8 game testers there were. So this track is another one where the only thing is just movement. I mean, there's no skips yet. Oh yeah, there were 8. Like if you go to the credits, it lists I'm pretty sure I counted that there were 8 individual testers of this game, and I'm really unsure of how that's possible. It's this game is just a train wreck, but I love it. I would like to add for this track in tournament mode, this is one of the best ones to get CPUs on because I think what happened there is he might have gotten lag, and that's because the CPUs were loaded in. Yep, the CPUs caused this game to lag. That is something I forgot to mention. This game is 30 FPS, looks like an N64 game, and lags horribly. And CPUs only make it worse, even on tracks that don't lag at all. So with a lot of tight spaces, which he actually navigated that really well, that makes it a challenge to just move at all. So this track coming up here, it is a true masterpiece. So this track here, this is the first one that has a skip, and it was like the first one found. Is it's this is one thing that makes me wonder how were there 8 game testers? What? He didn't do the skip. I thought he would. It's actually way easier to do the skip. So I thought he'd be doing that. Well, basically, at the beginning, if you saw that fence where those rails are, you can just hop through them behind those signs with with where the arrows are. Damn, I didn't realize he'd be going fully skipless with this. Like, tournament mode allows skips. There's not even a skipless category. But I guess it does show just this track being even harder than the other two to navigate. Like, if you thought Chocolate Factory had weird turns, this one, it's almost impossible to do it without stopping. However, I have found a way to do it with without a single stop, but with the like teacups there that give you way more speed. That's not really possible on tournament mode. I just remembered this. So to the way to the right on the house, if you jump into or two-wheel ride, which that's one of the things I forgot in the controls, you can press left or right on the D-pad, and it makes the car drive sideways, which can help with shrinking your hitbox a little bit to do certain clips. So, uh, yeah, if you two-wheel ride or shake to jump into a certain wall on the house, it literally hard locks the game. Just another perfect example of the like genius game design of M&M's Kart Racing for the Nintendo Wii. I'm surprised he did not get hit by the barn there, because if there are two individual objects right next to each other, getting stuck between them if you get too close to them is extremely easy to do, and it loses a lot of time. Like another thing that like things like those fence posts, these signs are super easy to get hung up on. And that door right there he turned past, that's also really easy to get stuck on. That track, the farm I just remembered, um, if you go way off to the side but where some hay bales are, you can actually go completely out of bounds and explore a lot of the track. There's just stuff floating. It's pretty great. And one last thing I'll explain from the farm is that hay bale he jumped over that he got slowed down on 2 out of 3 times. Um, so you know how I mentioned two-wheel riding shrinks your hitbox? Well, if you tilt the Wii remote forward, it makes you jump a little bit better. Like I've noticed that I have actually noticed that certain things are made easier with the correct Wii remote position. It's weird. I don't know how exactly that works. It just kind of does usually. And I don't really know of much to say about this track other than that it's the darkest one in the game because it's just in a lot of shade. If there's any donations, actually would be a perfect time because there's this track is not that interesting. I don't really know what else to say right now. Oh wait, I'm guessing the one who'd be reading donations left for a second. That he did. Very close to sub 35. There are no new donos. All right. Well, I did remember something is that this track being the darkest one in the game, this final turn here, there's a tree branch that sticks out and it's easy to get caught by it. I have lost runs to that. Well, more like time trial runs. Because there is an IL leaderboard for this game. This is one of my favorite tracks. It's also one of the longer ones. It was one of the last tracks to get to sub 1. And for a while, it looked like it was gonna get much further than 57 or 58. Here's Oh yes, this is one of my favorite parts of this game's wonderful game design. So if you saw how he was going down that hill, it probably made a ton of noises. So when you go down big hills like that, you have no control, or you have, well, minimal control of the car. Like you are, like unless you are turning as much to the left or right as possible, you're not going to be moving much at all, and you barely move even if you're trying to turn. It's Yeah, like this, he's probably going to hit a wall. Yeah, to slow down. Yeah. So you have to have your angle set before you go down hills like that. You good, Baconator? The bridges on this track are also wonderful. They're because of how many spaced objects there are. It's easy to get hung up on stuff. That was a good turn. So the optimal lines for this track is you clip through this like the right side of both of the bridges. I think that's usually a teacup that I avoid, or coffee cup or whatever. I have no idea what they are, but he actually had a perfect angle to get speed down that hill. But yeah, you can clip between two of the ropes on both of these bridges, and I think it's a little bit faster for each. Definitely for the second one. But it's definitely easy to get either stuck or fall off with. So not exactly no reset run safe. Oh, CPUs. And last thing is that tree that there's a tree that's like kind of like in the ground a bit. There might be two of them, but there's actually no. It's right before the finish line. There is a tree that's like inside of a hill, and if you try and go underneath it from above, like from like going down the hill, you fall right through the ground. It's really awesome. Oh yes, the this this track this track is awesome. There are so many things to get hung up on in this section right here. Just the amount of trees, signs, nets, and wooden boards. It's scary. Also, forest is the darkest track. This is the brightest track, and the water looks like Atari graphics. One thing that makes doing runs of this track a bit frustrating is if you have to go a bit out into the water at that section where there was the boardwalk, and it is very ugh, God, I cannot speak words right now. Basically, there's an invisible wall, and its hitbox is extremely weird. You get stuck on it in the most nonsensical way possible, and you have to just barely maneuver past it, really, if you want optimal lines for the track. And there's no visual cue, really. And there's not much of one from my experience. You just kind of have to get familiar enough with it. Oh boy, CPU's in the worst section of this track. So there's another. Oh wow, there's this game's being very well designed. Literally clipped through that rock. How did he not get stuck on that tree? That was pretty great. Well, on the topic of really good hitboxes, how could I forget those blue thingies and the umbrellas? Those are easy to get stuck on too. Mostly those blue thingies. The umbrellas not quite as much. Hopefully, y'all are ready for peak game design because this track is really something. So it's y'all have seen how much this game will lag due to CPUs or just some tracks having laggy areas. This track is lag city, so much so that getting the startup boost is a challenge. You have to shake the Wii remote in a very specific way to allow for enough inputs for it to get like any of those boosts at the start, which I might have forgotten to mention. But you know, it's way easier than in Mario Kart to get a startup boost. You just have two already held down, shake the Wii remote at least once, and then you're good to go. But even that is a challenge because it drops most of your motion inputs on literally the very start. And also, there is a clip when he went down that first area, but it's not exactly easy. Oh, damn. Yeah, that happens. This track is great. On that uphill, if you take the turn too tight, you get like against the side of that ramp and you have to like jump up it to like not go past it, it will not count your lap because the checkpoints are just placed in the worst ways imaginable. It makes some skips very hard to find. Like there'd be so much potential on some tracks, but because of checkpoints, they just are useless. And this track definitely has a few areas that you would save multiple seconds on if it actually allowed you to, like, if it allowed a lap to count. It just doesn't. Also, this ending turn is very tricky. You have to go at like a really wide angle and time it just right. It's it's something like I feel like you can just lose nearly half a second doing a time trial of this track just because of that ending turn and not doing it optimally. Because while you're turning, you accelerate more slowly. And also, if you've noticed, when turning, you kind of slow down a little bit in general. So there is a way that you can turn subtly enough that doesn't drop your speed below like 259 or 258. But yeah, oh, yep. So if you end up in that area and you just jump straight onto the ramp from that spot that he backed up from, it won't count your lap. Okay, good. You didn't have to do a fourth lap. That's probably one of the worst tracks in the game. But I believe coming up is my favorite. Yep, Arctic. I kind of remember the track order. This is the only track in the game that does not have a sub 1 lap in training, I think it's called. I have the game on right now. I can go see what it's called because I don't remember. I don't even know if with the coffee cups that you can get to sub 1. Yeah, training. This track is a very good of movement. Like it is, like there's no skips at all on it. It is just 1 minute of executing turns well and jumping off of bridges with really bad hitboxes. And since this track is well, now that I've mentioned bridges, because bridges aren't smooth at all, they're extremely bumpy. Bumpy terrain makes it extremely difficult to like turn or jump on. So as I mentioned earlier, with tilting the Wii remote forward, making you jump better, you have to tilt the Wii remote forward and jump at the right spot in order to jump on the sides of the bridges, and that's how it is for optimal lines. So I guess I haven't mentioned already, I've put way too much time into this game. I've I lost track forever ago. I'm surprised he did not get hit by that bridge there. That that was awesome. Since this track is a lot of nothing, uh, so most people have like one character they main. It literally makes zero difference what character you use, just as long as you can have this car unlocked, which requires like the chocolate coins you pick up. Those are those are for unlocking things and showing how much you've played this game. I have long since maxed out the amount of chocolate coins I can get, which is 8,000. This is another literally just turn track. You are completely confined in this area, and there are no skips. Uh, a bit of funny trivia about this particular course was that the record was 33.6 for a while, and then one day when I was in a call with current record holder for this track, uh, I forget if I tied this record or if I'm a frame off. I might have tied it, but I don't know. Um, how many hours do you have in M&M's kart racing? Is that for me or Baconator? Because I'm not sure about Baconator, but I've lost track. It's too many. Back to back to this track was uh yeah. So me Kim, who has not put nearly as much time into this game, but is extremely good. He is just a wizard at this game. He works some magic on whatever track he puts his mind to. Uh, he found that if you drive up, like if you jump up and then mostly drive on the walls, you have way better lines. And he literally made this track that seemed like it was just never gonna like surpass 33, get to 32.9 in less than an hour. It was actually insane. Because I had record with 33.63, which I think since my movement had gotten better, since that was my first record I ever got in this game. Um, Pretty sure you can get a 33.5 without driving on the walls, but yeah, with driving on the walls, you saved over half a second. You cannot play as the pretzel inside of the orange M&M. They didn't have enough I don't think they had enough time to program the pretzel. Also, this is the second of the Alien tracks. I feel like this game was supposed to have a story, but they had to scrap it like extremely early on. But we're like, damn, we already have these concepts for tracks, but just went and made them anyway. This track is also another one that shows that hills are awesome. It's like you basically cannot turn when you go down those hills because you're just bouncing the whole way down. With a well-timed jump, however, you can jump over them. I don't even think it's risky to try. Just as long as you're already like prepared to turn. Oh yeah, this track suffers heavily from CPU lag. It's just about the worst thing. Hills do not speed you up in this game. In fact, I actually I attempted to see if a technique would work, just literally snaking to see if it would be, wow. Light posts in this game are awesome. That one before the tunnel is one you can get stuck on a lot. Yeah, oh man, I think I already forgot what I was. Oh yeah, snaking. Uh, I attempted to see if snaking would actually like help a bit when going up hills. I don't think it really does. Like it seems like you're. Oh, he got a really he got a good hill there. He didn't slow down at all. Um, yeah, like it looked like the speedometer wasn't going down nearly as much, but your lines are terrible with snaking. So what I do is oh yep, light posts. What I do for hills is I just do like one or two jumps up them, and that's it. Helps a little bit. So y'all know how in Mario Kart there's always like an even number of tracks, like 16, 32, 48. Yeah, this game has 15 tracks. Also, this is the most edible track in the game. I did kind of just remember this. It's been a while since I've ran this game, so some things are just coming back to me while watching this. But it's probably like shown before, but I just didn't notice. Um, when the game lags enough, and this only really happens with CPUs. When the game lags enough, I'm talking like 10 FPS, approaching sound barrier. The Yeah, I have the stream muted, so I don't hear myself. But yeah, the sound bites in this game are awesome. All four of the other M&Ms have the same voice lines. The green M&M is the only one that has different ones, and no, and they are unique to the green one. But yeah, if the game lags enough, like I'm talking like 10 FPS, if not less, it's actually you already have all the M&Ms unlocked, so you could from the very start you can play as the green M&M, which is pretty poggers if I say so. As I was saying about this game and how it handles lag, if it lags too much, it will actually speed you up. Like you don't slow down on hills, and it actually you have the opposite problem. It's not because usually when the game lags, you can't turn at all. Kind of like right there. Uh, you end up turning way more than expected. Like when you hit a laggy enough area, you will just start turning really far to the right, and it is very awkward to control it. It happens on Sea Carrier. That's one example I can think of. Another movement track, but this one has a skip, and it was the last skip that was found in this game, I believe, unless I am rusty and forgot about another one. So yeah, right here at this middle part, where those two bridges are, you can jump onto that island and go backwards at the finish line and then hit the checkpoint, and that saves half a second. The record for this track is probably one of the more optimized ones in the game. I don't really, it's already very difficult to tie, so I don't know if I'll see it getting beaten anytime soon, but probably not impossible. The thing about the skip on this track, uh, it is extremely difficult. Getting it in a time trial to save half a second is already insanely difficult. Uh, like just getting one completed run with it that actually saves any amount of time can take forever. The only way you can save any notable amount of time with it, it would only be like 1.5 if you got it perfectly all 3 laps. So that's probably never being done in runs. And also at the ending turns of that track, it is littered with invisible walls that slow you down. So optimal turning is very difficult. And this is the second to last track. There technically is like you can jump over these walls, but they don't save any time because it slows you down when you try and clip past them. And this glitch is only in tournament mode, but if there's a CPU in this tunnel here and you jump at it the correct way against a wall, you can clip straight through. So CPU clipping is possible, but only in specific situations. Yeah, Chocolate Volcano, Coliseum, and the next track after this, they aside from Chocolate Volcano, they are all just movement tracks with basically no skips. So if there's any like donations or something, then either of these two remaining tracks are perfect timing. By the way, remember how I mentioned that doing the two-wheel ride allows you to do a certain clip better? This is that track. The very last turn here, if you two-wheel ride before those tires, there's a little gap right there. If you notice, you can jump through that at least without slowing down too much, but it is quite finicky. Three-way tie was actually on this track before Storster managed to untie it, and then I don't know if it's a three-way tie again at like 2970, but it was 2973 before, and now it's 2970 flat. Wait, there's a train on Stadium. Have I just never noticed that? Or does it just look like that? Another good game design moment. There are a lot of there's a lot of like jutting hitboxes from the tires that can slow you down. But yeah, GG Baconator. What was the time on that? I cannot hear the stream. He forgot to mention what time was, so it's gonna be a little bit off on the restream. Well, I think I've said most of what I want to say. I guess if Baconator has anything. I am I am thankful for being able to commentate this. I hope I did all right. I'm very rusty with this game. I literally just booted it up like less than 15 minutes before the run started.